Hello viewers, today I'm going to kind of lay out the 200 years of Russian history, basically to bring home the point that Russia has a very proud history in destroying, in shattering the myths of the bullies. Why do I say bullies? Well, if I start with my first example, Napoleon, the Napoleonic genius, who from the late 18th century to about 1812, 15 years completely destroyed the European armies in Europe. That include the German army, the Polish army, Italians. Most of the armies were completely destroyed by Napoleon. And then finally, he landed with the hope to get its kind of the final prize, the Russian Empire. The Russians, however, with their proud national integrity, with their proud national pride, not only withstood the onslaught, the Napoleonic onslaught, it actually ended up defeating Napoleon in the famous battle which is remembered as the Battle of or the War of Borodino. Borodino is a place just on the east of Moscow, just on the gates of Moscow, when the Napoleon was threatening the Russian capital at the time. And thus that defeat actually started the events which marked the beginning of the end of the Napoleonic empire, you would say, call it, or the Napoleonic France. In the end, Napoleon was defeated in 1815 by Britain, and completely destroyed, shattered, Napoleon had to leave the throne. The second defeat or the second victory of the proud Russians was in the mid 20th century, when Hitler, the hordes of fascist Hitler, invaded Russia. By that time, in the early half of the war, France, Poles, Norway, Sweden, all the standing armies of the continental Europe, not Britain. Britain was saved at that time, or remained intact at that time, but all the continental Europe actually just folded like cheap tents under the onslaught of the German army or the Hitler army. It was only the last battle or the last prize for the Hitler, the Aryanic dream of Hitler, to establish the Aryanic empire in Europe. Russia, again, it was the then Soviet empire or the Soviet Union who actually defeated Hitler, first in Stalingrad in Russia, and then kept on pushing Germans back, with the end of the final end or the final decimation of the German army in Berlin with the fall of Berlin in 1945. Why am I giving this context? This historical context is very important to what's going on in Ukraine. You see, just like the bullies of the past, just like Napoleon and Hitler, the current US empire is trying its level best to destroy, to kind of kneel the Russian Federation, the Russian state, to its heels. For about 20 years, the US had been meddling in Ukraine, which is kind of a very closely knit state of Russia, a very closely knit state or close to Russia. It's on its eastern half. The Ukrainian eastern half is all of them probably, or most of them probably, or predominantly most of them, are Russian speaking.